It is so good to see that you made it to another edition of This Week in Mexico, a program where we tell you sort of what's been going on in the country for the last 7 days, more or less. Today, we're going to talk about two huge countries, both of whose names start with a C, that have been getting in trouble in Mexican foreign relations. We will also take you to Latin America's biggest book fair. You're really going to enjoy that. It's a real cultural event, and the conversation is amazing right there. And in the Mexican of the Week, you will get to know a star from the golden era of Mexican cinema that I think you're really, really going to enjoy hearing about. Welcome to this edition. This is December 6th, 2024, and we are so happy that you're here. This has been a busy week here in Mexico, and I thought that before actually giving you the big headlines, I just give you a roundup of what's been happening in Mexico with some minor, brief headlines that will give you an idea of what's been going on. One example is Jalisco. I live in Puerto Vallarta. Jalisco is the state where Puerto Vallarta is, and today we are having our new governor sworn in Guadalajara. He is Pablo Lemus, and he is replacing Governor Enrique Alfaro, who was there for 6 years now. What I wanted you to realize or to understand about this is remember, a couple of weeks ago, I was explaining to you with the federal budget why the federal government decided to move the inauguration of the president. President Claudia Sheinbaum was inaugurated on 1st October as opposed to 1 December, which was the usual. That was to a large extent so that she could work with the new Congress to get a 2025 federal budget. So this will be her budget as opposed to the previous president's budget, which is what usually happened. Here in Jalisco and in many other states, it seems like this shoring up the dates and making the legislation correspondingly so that everyone is there at the same time has not happened. So, for example, here in Puerto Vallarta, we had our new mayor inaugurated in early October. He was also elected in June. Everyone was elected in June, the president, the governor, the mayor. And the truth is, the new mayor is actually been sitting there waiting for the new governor to take office and then work together. Another news item, the minimum wage in Mexico will grow by 12% starting next January. Remember, the federal budget starts in the calendar year. We talked about that. So starting January 1st, 2025, the minimum wage in Mexico will be 278 and 80 pesos per day. That's about $13.75 every day. This is not an hour minimum wage, but a day minimum wage. And in Mexico, we manage the border with the United States a little differently. So the border region will be the minimum wage there will be 419.88, 419 pesos and 88 cents. That's about $20.77 US, just for a day. But you have no idea how much of a difference it makes for a person in Mexico who's working for a minimum wage to have that raised by 12%. It can really be life changing for them. Another headline: cruise ships in Mexico are very likely to have to pay $45 per person when they arrive at a Mexican port, according to the 2025 federal budget. This has been very controversial. Senators seem to agree that every person who comes into a Mexican port on a cruise ship should pay those $45 just for the privilege of going into the country. And well, our analysts and our critics are not liking the idea, and they are certain that a lot of the ship companies will simply go to other places in the Caribbean or in the Pacific, wherever that's happening, and that Mexico is about to lose a big chunk of this business. Another thing that I've been hearing from Mexicans recently, as the new Trump administration is approaching and is getting closer in time, January 20th, I hear a lot of Mexicans saying that they are reconsidering traveling to the United States or doing business in the United States if they can avoid or find other partners elsewhere. I'm really referring to Mexican tourists, people who would go to the United States for shopping or for leisure or to Disneyland or to New York, are actually really thinking about going to other places while the Trump administration is there. Now, this has happened to us before, 8 years ago, especially the first year of the Trump administration. This is what happened. A lot of Mexicans said, I'm going to fly to Europe, I'm going to fly to Canada, and even on those trips, I do not even want to transfer my, I don't want to make a plane transfer in the United States. It was really bad. I'm not sure that the US economy felt this at all that strong. I think border states did, especially Texas, California, where people just drive to San Antonio or San Diego to get their stuff. A lot of people said, I might avoid doing that a little more as long as the Trump administration is there and we are being offended. I just wanted to share with you what people are saying. They're ready to repeat the no show in the United States during the second Trump administration. So, of course, the two huge countries I was talking about at the start of the program are Canada and China. We have been discussing them a lot, thanks, of course, to Donald Trump and his incoming administration. Only 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was telling you how Canadians and Mexicans relate to each other when it comes to relations to the United States. There's often a common feeling of not being heard or being disregarded or being taken for granted. But this time, this was only 2 or 3 weeks ago. It only took one social media post by President elect Donald Trump for Mexicans and Canadians to start bickering and fighting each other. The big issue is whether the free trade agreement that we have between the two countries, the USMCA, should stay the way it is, or maybe there are voices in Canada. I hear about the Ontario Premier, the province of Ontario. I hear some other more conservative voices in Canada saying that Mexico should be left out. And of course, there's response, and there is President Sheinbaum saying that Canada should remember that when this was negotiated with Donald Trump about 8 years ago, the USMCA, it was Mexico who told Trump that Canada should always be included, that this was a three-country agreement. And she made it very clear that she could not understand how Canada was asking Mao to remove Mexico, to take Mexico out of the equation, when Mexico was very active in helping keep Canada into the agreement 8 years ago. Of course, this all has to do with politics. I had a couple of friends coming the last few weeks from Halifax, Nova Scotia. They're very good Canadian friends. So they were telling me about the Trudeau government being threatened a bit. They will have an election, it appears, next year. And he seems like he's not on a strong footing. So maybe talking about trade, going to the United States to visit the president elect, and fighting a little bit with Mexico might help in his political chances. This is the ugly part of politics, but that's the way it is. We think that it will be resolved and that the USMCA, the treaty, will pretty much stay the same when it is reviewed in a couple of years. Of course, we need to talk about China, the other big C in the headlines of this week. China has become sort of the enemy with a new incoming Trump administration. The issue of China has to do with fair trade, it has to do with fair manufacturing practices. And we do know that that incoming Trump administration is really concerned about that. Mexicans' view is that we need to please the United States, but we are not sure we want to stop all interaction with China. One thing that happened this week is that the economy ministry, the Mexican economy ministry, sent out inspectors and customs agents and a lot of officials to a shopping mall, let's call it that, in downtown Mexico City. It's called Plaza Izazaga. That place is full of Chinese manufacturers, of Chinese owners, companies, and individuals from China have a lot of merchandise there, and they do a lot of trade, not only for Mexico City, but for the rest of the country from there. So these inspectors were looking for counterfeit merchandise, for merchandise that products that did not pay taxes in customs, and the government warned customs officials that they would be closely monitored to make sure that these products were legal and they were paying the due taxes. A lot of critics and a lot of analysts consider that this was just a show that the Mexican government put up for the incoming Trump administration, that nothing really happened, but they wanted to see the incoming US administration that they were doing something about this, that these Chinese were not going to be playing unfairly in the North American trade game. What will happen, we're not sure. The fact is, Mexico imports much more goods from China than it sells. The trade balance with China is enormous. We hardly sell anything to China when compared to what we import from them. I wondered if there was like an ideal situation, and I thought I would show you a little piece of video. I would share that with you because it fulfills two things. One is to look at different media, to look at broadcasters from other countries. That's not Mexico, that's not the United States, it's not Canada, so you can see a different viewpoint. So today I would like to share a small report that comes to us from CGTN, which is the Chinese official broadcaster. This is the official television of the Chinese government, and they talk about a small Mexican company that builds and sells electric automobiles. It was established in Puebla, and most of the workers are women. The CEO is a woman. Of course, Puebla has a big auto manufacturing sector, and the thing is, the car is built wholly in Mexico, but the engine and the lithium batteries are from China. The rest of the car has Mexican parts or North American parts, so it pretty much complies with the USMCA standards. But I kind of just wanted you to see how Mexico and China can interact without getting in trouble with the United States, we believe, although you may have a different view of this. The rest of Mexican journalists and Mexican analysts believe that the enemy is not really China or Canada or Europe, but tariffs themselves. This should be a competition. This should be an open market. I know there's a lot of factors involved, but Mexican critics say, let's just the market decide and see how these work. I am sure you will enjoy this piece of video. Come along.
We're inside a Mexican factory that has been designing and building Mexico's first electric vehicles since 2017. The brand is called Zacua, a pre-Hispanic bird loved by the Aztec emperor Moctezuma. The factory is owned by a Mexican company called Motores Limpios, or Clean Motors. It's located in the central colonial-era city of Puebla. They've sold 100 EVs made almost entirely in Mexico. Zacua has two EV models, this two-seater called the MX-2 and the MX-3 with its hatchback. In this early phase of production, both models are powered by Chinese motors and batteries. Zacua's corporate executives are well aware that other EV brands, mainly from China, are widely available in Mexico, and the competition is tough. Zacua's CEO is Nazareth Black, a 20-year veteran of Mexico's world-renowned auto industry. She calls Zacua an electric vehicle David and Goliath story.
One of the characteristic qualities of our cars is that all of our electronic technology will be developed here in Mexico by Mexican minds. We're proving that Mexico has all the capabilities to take advantage of the emerging global EV industry.
Most of the company's assembly line workers are women. Dalia Cadena installs lithium batteries. We're inside a Zacua Model MX-2. This vehicle has 24 lithium batteries with an autonomy distance of 180 kilometers when the batteries are full. And the car can run at 80 kilometers per hour maximum speed. It's known as a city car.
We have the opportunity to decide together what role Mexico will play in the coming century in the global auto industry.
Zacua executives say Mexico can take a lead role in the transition to sustainable electric transportation. Frank Contreras, CGTN, Puebla, Mexico.
week, we thought we would take you as part of the arts and lifestyle section to the Guadalajara International Book Fair. It is really a very nice event. It is an amazing cultural, political, and social conversation. Our evening news anchors go and broadcast from there. There's great interviews, and it is happening in Guadalajara, the capital of Jalisco, from November 30 to December 8th. So you may be just in time to run there before Sunday, December 8th, when it ends, and enjoy not only the books, but the book presentations and the conversations and the interviews and the amazing cultural things that are happening there. Now, one thing that stands out this year with the fair is that the guest of honor is the country of Spain. So, as you probably know, I'm not sure that you heard, but the previous administration of President Lopez Obrador and our current President Sheinbaum have been fighting, bickering with Spain because they have demanded that King Felipe VI issue a formal apology to Mexico because of the abuse and the enslavement and the stealing of the colonial period. They claim Spain abused Mexico. And of course, that apology from the Spanish government, from the Kingdom of Spain, has never arrived. It's gotten so bad that actually, for the inauguration of President Sheinbaum last October, the head of a state, who is the King of Spain, was not invited to attend. The International Book Fair has made this small video that I also want to share with you. They have English subtitles that they did. Connect with Mexico is not giving you those, but the International Book Fair itself. And you will see the kind of things that happen. The space is the Guadalajara Expo, which is a very big space, pretty much one of Latin America's biggest. So there's plenty of space to look at books and to have conversation. And again, I am sure that you will enjoy this video piece.
Gigante, diversa, llena de colores, llena de sabores.
La gente que le gustan los libros, que escribe, la conoce a fuerzas.
It's in the beautiful city of Guadalajara where the weather is brilliant and you have tens of thousands of books. So whoever you are, whatever you like, there will necessarily be something for you to find here.
Siempre digo que esta es la mejor feria del mundo porque es una feria construida y hecha por lectores.
There is something very happy vibes going on about Guadalajara.
Es una locura, una bella locura.
La FIL siempre nos deja algo inolvidable, tiene magia.
Uno se encuentra en casa en pocos sitios, ¿no? Y la casa de los libros, pues es la FIL.
Se ha convertido en un lugar de conversación ciudadana y política con una potencia grandísima.
La FIL en concreto creo que me aporta la amplitud de foco.
Estamos haciendo que circulen las ideas más allá del tiempo y del espacio.
Yo creo que estas miradas opuestas, estas amplitudes en la transdisciplina nos permiten justamente hacernos de ideas más ricas.
El tener acercamiento con diferentes culturas y que la gente pueda también tener acercamiento de lo que localmente existe, creo que es algo súper padre.
La gastronomía, la música, las letras, la poesía, el cine, este hervidero de artes me parece maravilloso.
La cultura tiene que cambiar la manera en que vivimos.
En la escuela muchas veces pensamos que los escritores son muertos, todos, hay unos vivos y está bien comprobarlo.
Ver a la gente joven, a las prepas, a las preguntas de los chicos que están ahí formándose, es muy inspirador, es muy desafiante, tú aprendes mucho con los lectores.
I think every writer should feel very grateful for their readers, and I am.
Se rompe con esa idea que tienen del escritor muerto y el escritor de bronce. Acá los escritores estamos caminando a la par de los lectores.
El entendernos por la creatividad me parece que es muy bonito.
Que la ciencia no es algo que se sale de las letras, sino que hacen un todo.
Es decir, que amo la FIL. Para un comunicador no hay nada mejor que haya gente que escuche.
El acto de la lectura es un acto de resistencia, porque el pensamiento solo puede existir en la dilatación del tiempo, no en la rapidez.
La literatura Las palabras y el diálogo nos ayudan a desarticular la violencia.
We need places like this because it helps books, and the books help people.
Mientras haya tanta gente pidiendo espacios como estos espacios van a seguir reproduciéndose.
En el fondo todos tenemos aún un destello de humanidad y los libros nos ayudan a reencontrarlo. Escribir, leer y resistir.
Leer es resistir.
This week's Mexican of the Week has to do with a person who died this week. She's Silvia Pinal, a Mexican diva from the golden age of Mexican cinema. She was involved in cinema, in theater, in telenovelas. She made a lot of work on television, on theater, and of course, she had children who were also famous, including Alejandra Guzman, who is a quite popular pop singer here in Mexico, and some actresses as well that have had leading roles in telenovelas. Of course, there's so much I can say, but I would like to share a reporting piece that Televisa's En Punto evening newscast broadcast last week. I want to share that with you. The subtitles and the translation are by Connect with Mexico. And again, I have no doubt you will enjoy it, and it will make you good to see the amazing work that this artist did throughout her long career of decades.
La última diva del cine nacional, figura a nivel internacional y por sí misma una leyenda. Silvia Pinal Hidalgo nació en la ciudad de Guaymas, Sonora, el 12 de septiembre de 1931. La que después sería estrella del cine de oro, comenzó su adolescencia en la Ciudad de México, donde llegó a los 13 años. En 1947 integró la primera generación de la Escuela de Arte Dramático del Instituto Nacional de Bellas Artes. Silvia Pinal alternó con todas las grandes figuras del cine de los años 50, actrices y actores como Prudencia Grifel, las hermanas Blanch, Amparito Arosamena, Marga López, Manolo Fábregas, Arturo de Córdoba, Joaquín Pardavé y el famoso Mario Moreno Cantinflas. Llegó la película Un rincón cerca del cielo, dirigida por Rogelio A. González.
¿Han disfrutado también ustedes de mi sacrificio? Déjame seguir con él a ver qué más le sacamos.
Ya no, chiquita. Ya déjela, se va a usted repetir.
Años después, Silvia Pinal y Pedro Infante estelarizaron la película El Inocente, comedia que sería especialmente recordada por la actriz.
Pues brinca la otra vuelta, yo ya me cansé.
2 y 2 son
4, 4 y 2 son
6.
Silvia Pinal paulatinamente se convirtió en una figura que proyectaba sensualidad. Esa belleza de Silvia Pinal cautivó en su momento al maestro Diego Rivera, quien gustoso accedió a pintarle un retrato.
En el 2013 fue homenajeada por el Museo de Cera de la Ciudad de México al develar una figura en su honor. La Academia de Artes y Ciencias Cinematográficas de Hollywood la eligió como una de sus integrantes en reconocimiento a su larga trayectoria y aportación a la industria del cine internacional. 4 premios Ariel, la máxima condecoración de la Academia Mexicana de Cine, lucen en sus vitrinas. Con el transcurrir de los años, Silvia Pinal se ha convertido en la cabeza de una de las dinastías artísticas más famosas de la industria del entretenimiento. Capítulos de la historia de Silvia Pinal que han iluminado las marquesinas del espectáculo mexicano para la posteridad. Gabriel Hernández, Fuerza Informativa Azteca.
Please be sure to be here next Friday for another edition of This Week in Mexico. go to our official website, connectwithmexico.com, where you will find contact information and, of course, our social media links. You know, we are big boys and girls, so we can take your input and even your criticism. So please keep it coming. Have a great week and see you again here next Friday.